Episode 4 takes us back in time to find out why Reacher once thought he killed and still wants Xavier Quinn dead. What did this guy do? Why is he such a horrible piece of shit? But before we find that out, we find out that this character that we thought was running the show, McCabe, is actually just Francis Xavier Quinn. So, because Duffy had taken that picture a couple episodes ago of him at one of the drop-offs or whatever, she has this picture of McCabe, and when she forwards it to Reacher, he's like, oh, well, this guy McCabe, that's actually Xavier Quinn. That's the guy I've been looking for this whole time. That's who I saw or thought I saw on the street, and that's the guy I want to kill. So it works out pretty well for Reacher, and it also works out pretty well for the DEA, because who they want and who Reacher wants is the same guy. But yeah, so this episode really takes us back in time, and we've got to find out why Reacher hates this guy so much. So we go back in time. He's an investigator in the Army and an MP unit. Not yet the Special Investigators. They do a nice little nod to the Special Investigators, letting you know that it hasn't quite happened yet in this part of Reacher's history. So I love that little inclusion. They're doing a lot of stuff like that, like they mentioned Susan Turner in the first episode, which is another character we haven't met yet, but you might remember from Jack Reacher Never Go Back, the film with Tom Cruise, or if you've ever read the book Never Go Back. She's a recurring character in the books as well for at least a couple books, and I thought that was a nice nod. Anyway, they do the nod to the Special Investigators. Reacher is assigned this new first sergeant to help him out because his caseload is kind of crazy, and he's got a big case that he's working on, and he is assigned Dominique Cole, and she quickly proves her worth. She is on Reacher's level when it comes to thinking. She's very good at figuring out what's going on in this case, and together they end up figuring out what's going on. There's some espionage going on. There's some military higher up selling weapons to foreign countries, and they get to the bottom of it. I'm going through the episode pretty quickly because the main point is what happens, right? What happens at the end. Reacher wants to give Dominique full credit. He wants her to get the arrest because she did most of the work. She did a lot of the planning, a lot of the interrogating of people, and he thinks that she deserves this arrest. It's good for her. It's good for her career, and so he kind of gives her that. And he sends her to make the arrest solo, which might not have been the best choice, because when she's delayed in getting back or in checking in after going to arrest, Quinn, that's who it ended up being. Xavier Quinn was behind everything. She doesn't check in. Reacher gets suspicious. He gets a text from her phone where she calls him sir, and that's how he knows that something has happened to her, because he explicitly told her not to call him sir, and she's been calling him Reacher and not sir for the entire episode and the entire time they've known each other working on this case. So he knows something's up. He goes to find out what's going on, runs into Xavier Quinn, and Quinn's like, oh, she was working you the whole time. We were working together, but then she tried to turn on me and take the money, and I had to take her out. And Reacher's not having any of that. He just killed this up-and-coming, awesome person, this first sergeant who's making her way up the ranks. She's very smart, brilliant woman, and he just took her out, cut her life short, in her 20s. This guy's got to pay. So Reacher shoots him in the head. He falls over a cliff, or maybe he shoots him in the chest. Maybe he shoots him in the chest. Because if he shot him in the head, I don't know how the dude survived, at least without scars. But anyway, he shoots him, he falls over a cliff, and Reacher has just murdered this dude. He eventually tells him that, like, he doesn't know. When the higher-ups ask him what happened, he says he doesn't know because, you know, he actually did commit murder. I mean, the guy was basically turning himself into Reacher. And Reacher wasn't having it because he was trying to play it off like she turned on him and he had to do it. And he'd rather get a 20-year sentence than, you know, a life sentence or be put to death, right? Be hanged for treason. So, anyway, now we know why Reacher hates Quinn so much. Now we know why he wanted to inquire about him in that first episode, seeing that he thought he saw this guy that he thought he killed. Now we know why he hates him so much. He killed someone important to him back in his military days. Reacher feels kind of responsible because he sent her in, and there's a lot of emotion behind it. So that, and then, you know, this idea that there's an undercover informant that was in there that also disappeared, and Reacher worries, you know, that she might meet the same fate. So there's a lot tied up in this, but I like where it's going. I gotta say, like, episode 4 is probably not my favorite. It's just because I don't like digging into the past as much. I like working on this current story. I want to find out what's going on with Beck. I want to find out, you know, how Reacher can keep himself camouflaged as the number 2, the head of security now. Does that mean he's Paulie's boss? Does he get to boss Paulie around? That'll be a funny scene. Anyway. A lot more to come. We're only halfway through the series, but I am enjoying it so far. Deviates from the book a bit. Quite a few things are different, but I'm still enjoying it. In fact, I like when they deviate at least a bit from the book because I don't like to know exactly how it's going to go down. It might turn out, like in previous seasons, that Xavier Quinn isn't the top dog. Maybe there's someone else behind everything. Maybe something else is going on completely than we thought. If you've read the book like me. Anyway, you guys can reach out if you want to chat about this. You can leave a comment below. Let me know what you think so far. What did you think of episode 4? And anytime you want to reach out, you can reach out on social media at Real Brett Scott. And also, subscribe to the channel if you're interested in this sort of thing. I do a lot of Jack Reacher content on the channel, but that's not all that I do. I talk about all things entertainment and pop culture, and I love doing it. So, if you're interested in that, please stick around and subscribe. And if you do decide to subscribe, then I'll talk to you again real soon. Thanks.